For the first time since Andy Audio Vault started like over a year ago, this is a single biggest haul of mail call in a single day. Okay, 5,000 US dollar that you're looking at. The word of all the item in front of me right now. And for the sake of clarity, I'll just like to clarify one thing. This part here, I would like to thank NF Audio for sending me in all these review samples. Okay, and this part here, which costs at around 4,000 US dollar, this is 1,000 by the way, this side, is from Red Ape Audio, mainly 90% of them being FiiO product. And I must declare this upfront. I do not have that kind of money to spend, okay, on audio gears. Probably one of them, but not all of this at the same time. So I am very grateful to NF Audio and Red Ape Audio Malaysia for all this stuff in front of me. So join me after this to do an epic unboxing. Okay, maybe not all of them, but I'll be focusing more on the most exciting and most prominent item among them all, especially this FiiO R9 and this flagship IM from NF Audio, which is NE4. Join me. So let's do this. I have my knife here ready. Okay, so let's just have a look at NF Audio stuff first, okay? And in order to do that, let's just find out the cost if I were to buy this myself, okay? As you can see here on Hi-Fi Go, I have NF Audio NE4 in my cart, which is 749 US dollar, and then NF Audio NM2 IEM, and then also NF Audio RA05, which is DSP module. So those three items alone would have cost me 957 US dollar, and give and take, including the shipping and everything, it would probably go all the way to 1,100 US dollar. Quite pricey, right? So let's just start this thing, and let me just show you here. The first one, NE4 Evolution, flagship IM from NF Audio. Let's just open this thing up. Okay. Jing, jing, jing. I feel like a boy again. All right. Are you excited? Because I am excited. Okay. The box itself here. Let me just and see that. Okay. Right. So I think just need to slide it open like that. Okay. Just gonna put this aside. Okay. Premium looking box. All right. Here we go. Okay, what do we have here on this side? Some manual. Okay, modern looking. Let me see. Okay, not gonna go through that, but I assume the warranty and everything is all there. And of course, some more brochure here. And the IM is wow, some CD here. Now, oh, is it CD? No, it's the faceplate, sorry. Okay, so let's just have a closer look here. These are the IM itself, which seems to be attached here, okay, in this console box. And let me just take it out. Okay. All right. Okay, just gonna put this aside first because I just gonna pull these two things as well. Because the thing special about this NE4 is that it comes with this very special kind of technology. Literally, you are paying for the price of 3 IM, okay, which can be combined or integrated into one. All right, now I am stuck. I don't know how to get this thing out. Let me just do this. Okay, how do I get this thing out? All right, let's just put that aside first. Okay, at least we have the other faceplate. And we have here silicone tips. Have a look here. Okay, very nice. So I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 different type, offering two categorized tips, I would say. The black one seems to be narrow bore and the white one seems to be wide bore. Okay, most likely I'm going to be using this. And let's see if they have also foam tips. Okay, let's see what else is here. Wow, this is a nice looking bag. You see that? NF Audio. And what's inside? Nothing. Okay, this is the carrying case. Just gonna put it here. Okay. And then what is this? All right. Interesting. I guess this is some sort of tool. Let me just open this up. Oh, there's a quite thick plastic here. Oh, that's an adapter. Yeah, it's just an adapter to convert to 6.3 mm to connect to. And surprisingly, for something which costs close to 800 US dollar, it comes only with this single-ended cable here. Okay, I was hoping that this would be at least some sort of modular cable which will allow me to connect to 4.4 mm balance, but it is what it is. Okay, as you can see here, nice looking cable, but just 3.5 mm single-ended. Okay, all right. So let me just clear this thing first. What else do we have here inside? Oh, there's something else inside here. What are these? Additional silicone tips. Okay, just make sure that before you throw away some stuff, there are additional silicone tips inside. Okay. And then let's just see what else are there. Right. So pretty much the box, that's it. So just gonna close this. Okay. And just gonna put this aside and bring back this thing here, which contains a faceplate. Okay, I need to figure out how to take this thing out. All right, so most likely I just gonna do this. Yeah, I know it's gonna look like crazy, but okay. Yep, out and out and out. Okay. In case you are wondering what are these things, okay, these are the IEM itself here. Let me just give you a closer look. Yeah, see that? Okay. Okay, let's just get into focus. Yep, there. Constructed of metal. Okay, nice looking. With this NE4 logo here. You can see that. Okay. And supposedly, I can detach this. Let's just find out how to detach this. Okay. Perhaps I'm not going to do it now because obviously I think there's a bolt holding it here, which I think there is a tool should be included, or do I need a separate sort of key? Yeah, there is a key here, as I suspected. Okay, there's a tool that you can use to take out the faceplate. Okay, with some additional screw given here. And this is the screwdriver itself, tiny looking screwdriver. Okay, which means that I can probably do this. Okay, have a look here. Okay. And it is already detached. You're seeing this? Kind of a bit delicate. Okay, have to unscrew it. Oh, it has a spring motion thing, which will automatically eject, okay, the faceplate. So let's just have a closer look at the faceplate here. You would notice that, okay, these are the faceplate. Okay, can you see that? So effectively, to my understanding, depending on which faceplate that you use, this black one, red one, or even the blue one, it will totally change the sound, different sort of tuning. So like I mentioned earlier, 3 different type of sound, IEM, converge into one. And this seems to be like perhaps a crossover and impedance sort of thing inside, which will influence the tuning for this NE4. Okay, so I will cover that definitely in my review. What sort of performance are we looking at? So attaching it back here seems to be quite a straightforward affair. Okay, kind of a bit delicate. Let me just see here. Okay. And screw it like that. And it's quite solid. I'm glad that they included all this screwdriver and this bolt here. Okay. Now let's just attach it to the cable here, which is pretty much, I would again say, all right, you would probably need a separate cable if you want to run it on 4.4 mm balance. Okay, this is QDC connection. Okay, like this. All right, very tight. Okay, so I would probably use my own cable later, which is most likely Valkina's cable, in order to run this in 4.4 mm balance. So just to summarize this thing up, you're gonna get 3 different kind of faceplate. Okay, you're gonna get these silicone tips only, which does not contain any kind of foam tips. I kind of like hoping there was a foam tip for this kind of price, but no, it is not included. So NF audio, please pay attention, right? Not everyone uses silicone tips, okay? Some of us, especially me, are not going to be using any of this, most likely, because I'm just going to be using my own foam tips. So that's pretty much the packaging for this NE4. Okay. Let me see what's inside. Okay. This is pretty much a stock fare. How do you do this? Okay, let me see. Oh, yeah. Okay, slide it in, slide it out, sorry. Okay, and we have another, oh, yeah. Don't slide it. Oh, similar sort of presentation to NE4. Okay. In fact, the IEM itself seems to look similar as well, except that this one does not have any kind of detachable faceplate to NE4. Okay. All right. So let's just have a closer look at the IEM itself, the build. Okay. As you can see there, right? You're seeing this? Pretty much again, simple affair of metal construction, aluminum, I believe. Okay. QDC as well, right? And similar sort of silicone tips, again, no foam tips. And not surprisingly, similar type of cable, which I think is identical to what you're gonna get from NE4. Let me just compare them side by side. Yeah, it's identical. This one is for NE4 and this one is for NM plus, NM2 plus. So if I may say this, both of them might likely share the same DNA, okay? The same sort of IM, but the NM4 obviously being tuned to be on the higher end of it, okay? So let's just close this. Okay. Packaging looks super good to me. And then of course this side here. What else do we have? Oh yeah, carrying case, looks nice. And what's inside here? Nothing much, okay? So just gonna put it back and that's pretty much it, okay? If I guess correctly, it will be looking like this. Let's see how it is. Yep, like that. Okay, interesting. Uh-huh. Yes, true indeed. It is DSP model, as you can see that. Yeah. No 3.5 or analog connection, just straight connected to a dongle, permanent attachment to a dongle, and with this microphone here, okay, which signify that this IEM is probably optimized for gaming, for social media, something like Discord, stuff like that. Okay. And simple affair of this just one type of silicon tip, which seems to be the white ball. All right, so straightforward. Moving on to the next one, the stuff from Red Ape Audio Malaysia. So let's just have a look at the price if I were to buy them directly. Okay, since I am based in Malaysia, and thank you so much again to Red Ape Audio for all this review sample. As you can see here, all the item that they have sent me, okay, total at around 17,677 Malaysian ringgit, not including shipping or Shopee fee. So I would simply say that converted to US dollar, that would translate to in excess of 4,000 US dollar. Quite a lot of money, right? Okay, now let's just proceed and do this. The first one, the flagship, or should I say the showcase for this unboxing will be this big thing here, which is FiiO R9. So what is FiiO R9? Let's just find out. Okay, this thing is huge. Okay, I'm just going to be very careful to try to, open this thing up. Not to harm it too much, because obviously I need to return this once I am done with my review. Okay, I wish I can keep it. Okay. This thing is quite pricey, okay? Okay, oh yeah, it's a sliding box, easy to open. It's heavy, kind of, oh, all right, there. I'm gonna find inside here. Okay, yeah, cover itself. Okay, are you seeing this? All right. Uh-huh. Yeah, I pull, oh, it's quite heavy actually. Heavy. All right, let me just try to put this aside. Okay. Ta-da! Ladies and gentlemen, let me present you FiiO R9. Okay. Their flagship all-in-one audio station. Okay. Wow, wow. I am super excited. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so let's just have a closer look here. This is the front, obviously. And I will do the honor of removing this screen protector here. Spanking new. Look at that. Okay. Then I just gonna open this as well. No, just gonna show you at the back here. What are the interfaces that we can see? Okay. Obviously, you can feed power directly to this R9, okay, using this wall adapter here, 240V, which is based in, and we have micro SD card here. Okay, you see that? Which is the adapter, not the actual SD card. And we have so many interface here. Okay, let's just have a look at one by one. Okay, so I would probably need some time trying to understand what are these things. Okay, obviously this is DC in power as well, which I think kind of like weird because we already have power here. So I guess somehow you can power it as well using 15 volt of AC, this DC kind of adapter. Okay. Oh yeah, you can select between AC or DC. So I guess, depending on your situation, you can toggle between AC or DC. And ground and leaf, I'm not sure what are these. Okay. And of course, complete optical connection here. If you need to send out or receive optical digital connection, which is impressive. Okay, and of course you need coaxial in and out as well. Okay, that is pretty much everything that you can expect on digital connection. And you also have this ARC device here. So this is interesting. If you know of any, let's say, multimedia TV, okay, like what I have, ARC device means an integrated sort of output or input, which include visual and also audio. And of course, we have here, which I think is a normal HDMI, which I will probably cover later once I did my review. And I think this one here are the RCA connection. In case if you need, for whatever reason it is, that you want to connect this R9 to an external amplifier. And it looks to me that you have two here. So I'm not sure whether if both of them are lined up, because obviously you only need this one and this one, but I don't know what are these, the other two. Let's find out later, okay? So just gonna put it here. And of course, you also have line out using XLR connection, left and right, balance. This is super crazy rich, okay? And at the side here, or this honeycomb mesh, seems to me like, you know, some sort of air ventilation system, which will allow it to cool down, okay? Nothing much here. So I guess at the front here, we can actually open this thing up. Ta-da! So it seems to me the primary connectivity to connect, okay, from the front here would be either you can use 4-pin XLR, which is balanced, 4.4 mm balance, obviously, and if you need to use 3.5 mm single-ended, you're gonna need to use this 6.3 mm single-ended port, which I think an adapter is included somewhere down there, but we will have a look at it. Okay, now let's just put this aside. I need some space because I need to find out what else is included in the box. Okay, let's just gonna bring it back again here. So I do have with me here this box, which is I think the connectors, yes, USB cable, okay. Then of course, this seems to me like the base for R9 to stand, which is a very nice thing. Okay, there's two type here. Okay, one is seems to be like flat, and the other one seems to be like an elevated or tilted. Okay, so just gonna put it aside here. And we also have this extra XLR cover. And I'm not too sure what are these, but I think it could be some sort of sticker to close some holes or whatever it is, if you need to do that. Okay, and like I mentioned earlier, you have an adapter for 6.3 mm single-ended if you need to use 3.5 mm single-ended, and an additional fuse, okay, here. Okay, and what else we have here? Battery. What are these for? Could it be for the remote? Let me just, okay, this is the power cable, of course. In Asian country, we're going to use 240 volt. Okay. Let me just find out. Okay, of course, quick start guide, which I'll need to explore later. And some other stuff here. Okay, cleaning cloth, because you would notice that this thing have a very shiny surface. What else is here? Yes, I thought so. It's for the remote. Now, this is super useful. Okay, if you're gonna use this as an all-in-one audio station, a remote like this would be very useful. Okay, so that's the battery is for. Okay, what else? Okay, that's it. That's pretty much what's inside the box over there. And assuming that I'm gonna be using it in a standing platform like this, I would just probably attach it like that. Okay, so let's just have a look here. So it's gonna look like that. Okay, standing on the side. But of course, I'm not gonna power it up now. I will need to set up a space for it, power for it, and everything, and connect to my PC. So all you need to do is just stay tuned to my channel, and I will do a full review of this, okay, inside out. Moving on to the next one, FiiO M23, the latest digital audio player from FiiO, or simply known as DAP. And to my knowledge, okay, this M23 would stand somewhere in the upper tier of FiiO so many DAP that they have. Okay, the topmost being FiiO M17, and the second one being M15, and now we have M23, which is priced at 700 US dollar. Still quite expensive. So let's just have a look what's inside. Just gonna open it. Okay. Right. Simple box. And this one, let me see, where is it? Okay, please bear with me. Okay. I'm not so very good at unboxing, right? Wow. solid. And ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you FiiO M23. Okay, look at that. And it comes already equipped with this protection case, which I think is just a soft silicone. I'm just gonna take it out so that I can show it to you. Okay, right there, silicone case. And this thing is all glass plated at the front here, LCD obviously, and at the back here, glass panel as well. So which also mean that this is a fingerprint magnet, okay? So pay attention to that. And of course, at the side here, pretty much the sort of design that you can expect from FiiO upper tier product, which is like, you know, this hexagon type of button. Is it hexagon? Okay, what we have here on this side, I think this is on and off, and this is probably like volume up down, okay? And this is probably action or function button. And we have here control for play and pause, forward, everything, okay? And what do we have here? Okay, mode on off. What mode is this? Is this like, are we talking about desktop mode? Yes, desktop mode on and off. So I guess it will allow you to select what kind of power you want to run from this M23. And then this is to lock everything. Okay, let's just try to fire this thing up. All right, let me just try if there's any battery inside. Yep, it's turning on. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, while it's turning on, okay, I just put it here so that you can see it. I'm just gonna check what else is inside this box. Okay, it's booting up for the first time, by the way. All right, so just gonna put it there so that you can see it. Okay, and inside the box we have a SIM ejector. I don't know why is it included. Probably to, you know, put in some sort of SD card. Manuals, everything here. Okay, nothing much here. Okay, very simple, I would say. I'm just gonna put it back. And let me see here. Okay, these are, I think, USB cable. Yeah. Yeah, there you have it. Pretty much very simple. USB cable. So I just gonna put this aside and go back to this M23. All right. Okay. So just gonna quickly do this. All right. So that we can have a look at the interface. Okay. Click OK. English, obviously. Okay. And it's loading up Android. Okay. Android DAP. Okay, let's just put this aside first. I haven't shown you yet in here. Okay, so at the top here is the 4.4 mm balance and this 3.5 mm single-ended connection, which seems to be served also as coaxial and coaxial out. So you can also do digital out and also line out from here. So this one is also capable of doing line out if you need balance line out from 4.4 mm. And at the back here, bottom, yeah, this is why you need the SIM ejector. See that? Okay. Can you see that? That's pretty much the entrance or the tray for the micro SD. And this is the USB, just like KA17 or even Q15 for data, and the red one being for the one if you need to attach in some sort of a power delivery charger to support this DAP. Okay, so let's just quickly have a look. Okay, first impression, the interface seems snappy enough. Okay, let me just put this so that you can see. All right, and let's just have a look at the about device. Okay, so this is one of the key reasons why you would want to have this M23. It runs on pretty much almost identical chipset, flagship AKM chipset, which is AK4499EX, which you can find in this FiiO Q15, the flagship DAC-M from portable DAC-M from FiiO, and also from the K9 AKM, I think. Okay, so which means that this M23 is already equipped with high quality, the best AKM DAC chip that you can expect at this point of time. And it runs on Snapdragon 660 right? And it also offers this dual THX 78 plus amplifier stage, okay? So the battery is at 5,500 mAh, which is really good. And the screen itself is 5.49 inches. RAM is at 4 GB. And the internal storage is just very small, I would say, for a modern DAP, which is at 64 GB. I would have expect perhaps at least try to get 256 GB, because like my phone, some of my phone runs on 256 GB. So 64 is very conservative because they do expect you to have your own micro SD. So other than that, I think this is pretty much a straightforward affair like many other DAP. And it support gesture, I think. You saw that just now, right? Was it? Yeah, gesture. So that's a good thing. Okay, so I will talk a bit more on this in my full review, of course. Stay tuned. Price just under, or should I say at exactly 1,000 US dollar, okay, for this FA19. And inside, okay, have a look there. Okay, that's the IEM itself. So I'm just gonna try to pull it out. Let me see, how do I do this? I am just so very clumsy, so forgive me with that, okay? Oh, let me just... okay. So, okay, I'm just gonna put this aside first. What else is in the box? Okay, at the back here, we have tips, selection of tips, and we have this box here, which doesn't seem to have anything, any function. Just gonna put this aside. Okay, so bear with me. So let me just try to pull this off. Okay, try to be careful. Come on, FiiO, why are you doing this to me? I am like, not very good with this kind of packaging. I don't want to damage this. Why is it? You hear that? Sorry about that. I hope I didn't damage anything. Okay. All right. So let's just put this here first. Let's just explore here. This is a very nice looking bag. Okay, have a look at that. Now, I know this sounds kind of bit like, stereotypical, but if I am going to spend this much money on an IM, I do expect this level sort of at least accessories. Have a look at that, opening it. Okay, what's inside here? Some extra silicone tips. Again, silicone tips, all right. And this, I guess, interchangeable adapter, okay, which will allow you to switch to 3.5 mm single-ended, because you would notice that this one is, attached in 4.4 mm balance. And cleaning brush here, okay. And this magnetic clip, I think, yeah, magnetic clip, which will allow you to attach to your shirt or whatever it is. So I'm just going to put this aside first here so that you can see. Yeah, nothing else. And this compartment here for the IM itself. Okay. Now, then let's just have a look here. What are the tips provided? Okay, let me just try not to damage this. Okay. Look at that. Okay. Very interesting. This is a good thing. Okay. And why is it a good thing? Because you see here, this four thing here, probably the only thing that really matters to me. These are foam tips. Yeah, I would never probably use any of the silicone tips here, which seems to me like a dual flange here, right? Okay, you can see that, dual flange. And this narrow bore. tall and narrow bore, and this medium bore size, which seems to be like harder, softer, and this dual flange, and this even says smaller, the smallest bore tip, which kind of like medium compound. So for different type of sound tuning, but I just gonna be using this foam tips because that's me. Okay, let's just have a look at the IEM itself. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, FA19. Let me just have a closer look. Okay, show you. Okay, can you see that? Is it in focus already? It's all in this. I would say that it's quite thick. Yeah, notice that? Okay, because we are talking about 10 balanced amateur inside. Okay, perhaps later I will take a bit of a close-up photo to show what's inside. But the construction is definitely premium. And I would say that based on the weight itself alone, right, even though this is like a hard resin, 3D printed probably, it does feel like really solid. Okay, I'm impressed. Really solid. It's more like, metallic kind of heft to it. And the detachable cable. I think this is MMCX. Let me just, please, I don't want to damage this. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it comes with this MMCX, and I know some of you are very skeptical, or should I say kind of like not very fond of this MMCX. Me too, but the good thing about MMCX is that if you are not, attaching and detaching it too frequently, just like that, okay, it snaps very good. The good thing about this MMCX is that they are very flexible. Okay, you see that? They can swivel easily to get a better seal, or when you wear it, it can adapt much better than 2-pin connection. Okay, and let's just have a look at the cable itself. Just take a moment to appreciate that. Okay, let me just show you closer. Okay, this, even from this angle, when I look at it as a cable person myself, this is definitely premium. So I'm not sure whether this is Leeds SPC or FC. I haven't read the specification yet, but it comes with this 4.4 mm balance, okay, termination, which I think detachable. Let me just try to find out how do you attach and detach it. Okay, like that. Wow, this is very thoughtful. I think this is quite good on FiiO side to design it in such a way. You see that long barrel, okay, connection. Unlike some other detachable connection, kind of a bit short, this seems to suggest that this thing is a lot sturdier than other connection. So I guess that I need to get used to how to align this and insert it back, because there is a latch here, which I think, yeah, like that. Okay, nope. So I'm just gonna put it aside. Okay, it will really take some time for me to get used to it. So the whole idea is that for something which costs 1,000 US dollar with this kind of packaging, about the only thing left is that how good does it sound like with that 10 balance amateur? Let's just find out later. Sounds that they are making this traditional cassette player, which is kind of like interesting, I would say, because I am from that particular generation. Like, almost 30 years ago, I used to listen to my music 100% out of cassette player. But now, of course, like everybody else, I have switched on to digital audio, which means that the last time that I have ever used a cassette player was probably like 20 years ago, or even more than that. Okay, just gonna quickly show to you the content of this CP13. All right, wow. Okay, based on my own experience, if I were to compare the dimension and the size of this CP13, I would say that this is kind of a bit on the larger side, squarish compared to the Sony or even Iowa cassette player that I am familiar with. And let's see how, if I can open it up. Okay, I really need to learn how not to damage stuff, okay? So how do I open this? Can I just pull it out? Yeah. So I don't have a cassette yet, but probably I'll just find some of my old cassette and try to play it. But my assumption is that, if you are into this kind of nostalgic stuff, okay, probably this would be useful for you. If you still have a lot of cassette collection somewhere in your storeroom or anything like that, then this probably makes sense to have. Okay, let's just find out what else is inside the box. Okay, I would assume that, some part of it, yeah, USB cable, pretty much it, simple. So despite being a cassette player, okay, the way I look at it, this is probably a digital audio player, which happen to have a cassette component attached to it. So which means that this thing would have its own DAC amp inside, configured to play digital audio once it translates the analog component from the cassette. But let's just find out about it more when I do a full review on this CP13. Limited edition. Let me just see if I am saying this correctly. Okay, yeah, this is Mega 5. Okay, Mega 5 EST limited edition. Okay, and I think this is a hybrid. Let me just have a look here. Yes, it is one dynamic driver, two balance armature, and two magneto-electrostatic driver. So not an actual electrostatic, but more like magnetostatic. Okay, let's just have it open. And it is priced just under 600 US dollar. In contrast, compared to the item which I have shown to you earlier, this would appear kind of a bit cheaper. But then again, it is still quite pricey because this is definitely, I think, the flagship for HiSenior. All right, wow. See that? There's a box here, carrying case. Impressive. All right. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Impressive. I am impressed. Okay. Let's just put this thing aside first. Okay. Let's just have a look what's at the side here. I'm just curious. Accessories, additional one. So on top of, you're going to get that, I think, Pelican case. So I assume that this would be the additional silicone tips and more silicone tips. Okay, different sizes, different density. And do we have foam tips? Yes, foam tips. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you do IEM, okay? Pay attention to those people who are not comfortable with the usage of silicone tip. Foam tips always works best for me. Just gonna put this aside. Is there anything else there? Yes, more. Okay. And this clip here, okay? And this is probably a cleaning cloth, which suggests that this IM probably be shiny as well, just like the FiiO FA19 just now. And inside this is the IM itself. Okay, let's just have a look. Yeah. Compared to that FA19 earlier, this is simple, lighter. Okay, the kind of 3D printed IM which I would expect. It is definitely lightweight, half or probably half the weight of the previous IM, which I have shown you earlier, and straightforward, kind of design. The size itself is quite fair, okay, and the cable itself. And this is again an impressive cable for something which is priced at 600 US dollar. Okay, let's just have a look here. Okay, the version that I have here comes only in 4.4 mm balance, which is perfect for me. Non-detachable. It seems like permanent one. Okay, I don't see any other detachable module here, and it is the standard 0.78 pin 2-pin connection. Okay, so let's just have a closer look. Connect it like that. Okay, so let me just show you closer the IEM itself. Okay, can you hear that? Do you have focus already? Okay, so kind of a bit shiny here, faceplate, and the IEM itself not very thick. Okay, I would even say that compared to the earlier FiiO IEM, this is definitely a bit more thinner, not as thick. This is pretty much, I would say, normal size. Okay, and overall, despite seemingly to offer a simpler presentation on the overall package, especially considering that it has this pelican case, okay, with this bag here to carry whatever it is, your tips and everything, okay, and with this special compartment here for the IEM itself. I am again, for the record, very impressed with this HiSenior Mega 5 EST. Thank you so much for staying with me throughout the entirety of this video. I know it's kind of a bit lengthy, but it was fun. I hope you had fun as well. And I have shown you earlier, in excess of 5,000 US dollar of equipment. I must record my gratitude and thanks to NF Audio and also Red Ape Audio Malaysia for all the review samples that they have sent me. There's no way I can afford, to get all of them in a single purchase, obviously. And what will happen next is that please stay tuned to my Andy Audiovlog channel because I'm gonna be doing individual review of all of them. Okay? So see you next time.